playing Heroes of the Storm. They're having such a good time. They are by far the most likable teams in terms of raw, shining personalities, with Uncle G and Fei there as well. And that's why they're one of my absolute favorite teams to watch and cast.
Yeah, this is their job, but they are having fun with it. And if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. As we see Sky Temple coming in, and one of these teams is about to break a 100% record.
Definitely true. Both teams have been performing really, really well in Sky Temple, but only one team can maintain that flawless record. Who's it going to be? Now, Team Soa, they basically made sure that TimeFlow couldn't overcome them in the standings anymore. They also made sure that they have a strong point now against the One, who also played 1-1, and with 1 point guaranteed already in a tie as the worst possible result, Soa maintains their claim to top 3.
Exactly. Immediate bans on the Garrosh, but this time, TimeFlow banning out HGC. They've done played themselves. They have less options for tanks now.
Very true. And are we going to see Timeless on an Assassin again? No disrespects to Timeless X. He's probably a better player than I could ever become, even if I had 3 lives available. However, his Tychus didn't really seem to be the most impactful we've ever seen.
Very true indeed. I prefer this tank play, I'll say that much, absolutely. So that is a little bit concerning. Like, I don't mind flex play a lot, but I'm not so sure this is a good thing. But here is a Hanzo, at least. But Sonya's already on the board. We have already seen the leap into Hinterland's Blast combo work very well. Yeah,
of course, with Uther in the mix, you have that one support that could crush all of those hard engage burst composition dreams with one good divine shield or even just a cleanse. So already I'm starting to like this quite a bit.
As am I. With their second pick, they could probably pick up a support right now if they do want to go for that Stukov that they did was banned against them last time, or pick up the Lucio.
Lucio, you know, he was actually completely ignored last game, and I do want to say that I think maybe TimeFlow could have performed much better with Lucio. The Alex Trusses seemed a little bit helpless at some point.
Yeah, they had Lucio that was available. They could have maybe fit Genji into the draft because he was ignored the entire draft.
No, he was banned. He was banned.
Was Genji banned? I thought both Shimadas made it through.
I'm not sure if he was banned second by TimeFlow, but I could be wrong. If he wasn't banned, you're totally right. I might be wrong.
Bad memories either way. So we see.
You know, that's why we're casting video games, and we're not really, like, doing something useful with our times, like...
Yeah, it's something important where we have to be responsible for someone. You know? God.
Exactly. And that's why we're only casting China, after all.
Oh, shots fired at us.
No,
unnecessary self-deprecation.
I wouldn't trade China for any other regions, period.
Yeah, honestly, I'd agree with you. I'd want to do another region alongside, but... If I was paid the same and everything like that, I'm pretty comfortable in China. I like it.
There we go.
So,
saved.
Pick for Soa. Saved. What do we... Oh, sorry, ban for Soa. There's the Rhaegar ban. So, limiting the support options. Once again, limiting the support options, more importantly, that have cleanse.
All right. Now, the big question, Mark, is going to be the role of Timeless. We haven't really seen him on an assassin other than this very Tychus here on stream. Yep. Maybe he played a couple more assassins off stream, because right now, guys, because of Chinese New Year that is inbound, we're going to have to compress and really just pack our schedule super tight, and we're going to have 8 games per day, but only 4 are shown.
This is the case. This is the case. Now, with Arthas getting removed here, this could lead... Obviously, it affects the Greymane. Greymane can have some issues versus Arthas, but it could lead to potential shenaniganry, because one of the heroes that Timeless is quite well known for is the Thrall. There's the false dash. We did call it lead potential.
Lead potential. Here we go. Leap into Hinterland's Blast. Murden also joining the party with a nice Dwarf Toss, Lockdown, Stormbolt, etc., etc. Now, as you said, what is TimeFlow going to do against it? If they carefully watch the previous series, they should know that Arterial could once again be the saving grace. However, they didn't necessarily make good experiences with Arterial last game, did they?
No, they did not. They had relatively negative experiences with Arterial due to a couple interruptions on the Hanzo, from the Hanzo, sorry.
And also, if you pick the Lucio in the mix now, that's exactly what broke the One's back in game number 2 there. So Lucio, no cleanse is very risky. What is left for them, really? Rhaegar. No, he's banned. Never mind. Yep. They banned the cleanses. Brightwing.
Yeah, did call it Bright. Yeah, but Brightwing currently is made out of paper mache. It heals about as much.
To be honest, I would... Okay, here's my point. I think Brightwing would have actually been better than Lucio. You definitely have a point, Tetra. She's not the go-to support these days, but she has three tools, actually, to deny the combo of Soa to go down. First and most obvious one, it's the cleanse. Second one is the pixie dust, reducing the damage done by a Hinterlands blast. And last but not least, a well-timed Emerald Wind is going to keep all those hard engaging heroes at bay.
That's fair enough. I was thinking, I was still leaning towards Stukov, or I was leaning towards. If it had been any other assassins, maybe Ariel, but she really just doesn't really fit outside of double support. But obviously Aegis just straight up counters everything, but nothing else about her fits, so it doesn't work. And Genji makes it into the draft.
And now we have some serious problems going on for Hanzo. Not only is he facing his brother, who's admittedly one of the strongest counters to him in the game, but on top of all the damage they already brought to the table and all the hard engage, Genji is just the icing on the cake. If I were TimeFlow right now, I would get a little bit worried, to be honest.
I would agree. The draft from Soa looks really strong. They've got setup engage potential. They've got a very solid draft in general. They have a safe tank in the form of Muradin.
Yep. And Muradin is such an interesting hero in general because although he's so popular in other regions, China is still a little bit hesitant when it comes to picking the dwarf. There's only a couple of heroes, a couple of players, excuse me, namely Wang on RPG. He likes to play him a lot. Unfortunately, not this season. Maybe you should start doing it. And Win for CE, who plays him really well too.
And Misaka.
Definitely Misaka. Oh, how could I forget about Misaka?
The legendary Muradin. Indeed. So, TimeFlow up against it here. Already one game down. Looking to try and gain themselves some points to begin a slow catch-up onto the one BTG and Soa.
Timeless on that Anubarak, by the way. He's not going on that assassin again. He takes things into his own hands and provides all the tanking, hopefully, that his team is going to need. Now, we're going to introduce the team featuring Timeless once more. It is Team TimeFlow. On the left-hand side in the blue trunks with Timeless on Anubarak. Cat goes for Greymane, 11 on Hanzo, Atui on Leoric, and F-Show plays support, this time on Lucio.
And on the right, it is going to be start over again, currently 1-0 up, and playing for them, it is going to be Faye on the Sonya, Uncle G on the Uther, TY on the Falstad, Klong on the Uther, and Molly on that Genji. And for starters, let's talk about a couple things I like and a couple I don't like. For starters, Hanzo with the Scatter Arrow build. Can't lose stacks if you don't have a quest that makes you lose your stacks when you die.
Very smart.
And the thing I don't like is another role swap. You mentioned it during the intro. It's F-Show on support and Atui on the second tank.
There's basically,
I don't like that.
There's basically role swaps happening on both sides here, with Uncle G being on the main support this time, and Klong being on the warrior role here this time.
No, that is what happened last time.
Oh, that's what happened last time as well?
Yeah, Uncle G is support every game. Uncle G's been on Uther basically every game this season. Okay. Except the one it was banned.
Memory of a goldfish. That's what my mother tells me all the time. Either way, Tetra, take a look at Greymane and tell me if you see something out of the ordinary.
I see that he's a little vicious. Don't you? Oh wait, is that vicious or wolf harm? My quality's a bit low. I think that's viciousness.
So that means we're not going to have a cocktail build, which means that TimeFlow is going to focus a lot more on actual in-combat performance here. Not so much in poking. They seem to be forcing the issue relatively soon here, especially with all the hard engage they have available. The movement speed, of course, by Lucio, the Dragon's Arrow, and most importantly, the Anubarak.
Very interesting to see. Now, we have that Scatter Arrow build, which has a lot of ability power. Faye needs help. There we go. Thank you, Molly. We do see the Scatter Arrow going to be a lot more ability power than a Redemption build. So I do like that Greymane might be focusing a little more on getting stuck in there in that wolf form.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. I'm going to be really interested in seeing which talents he's going to use to follow it up on. In the meantime, Timeless on the Anubarak, he went for the good old Nerubian armor route. No regeneration master this time. And quite frankly, Sky Temple is not a map where you can stack a lot of those globes in the first place. Tui going in for the aggressive bait. Uncle G with a cheeky sidestep to the side, dodging the Drain Hope.
Molly showing us why Genji is usually a reaction to Hanzo so often. Just immediately seeing Hanzo and I see Hanzo, I go in. Reacts, dives in and forces Hanzo back.
Alright, in the meantime, we see exactly what teams have been doing in HGC China all season long up to this point. Hanzo, by the way, falling victim to Genji. The brother battle is still raging on.
Yeah, Fei doing a good job with these whirlwinds, preventing the push from going much quicker than it would do otherwise. Able to clear out most of the mercenaries as well. Only the mage mercenary stays alive. And with his teammates up here, the Yorick dies as well. Molly is turning it up in the bot lane here.
Slow down and have a little mercy on the Observer, Molly. You can't get all those kills where nobody expects them to happen, right? So, Molly, we talked about this guy during the introduction of the teams, man. Molly continues to perform and continues to become one of the most reliable assassin players in the league.
Completely agreed. We were actually very concerned about him last season because we thought he was a bit too much of a Valor / Grey main 2 trick. But now he's showing us that his Genji is solid. He's showing us that he is able to flex outside of those two heroes.
Klong goes in. Molly follows. Cat is in a little bit of trouble. Is the damage going to be enough? I don't think it will be for now.
Cat gets out as we do see Leoric being forced to move forward away from his wonderful solo lane. He liked it there, was comfy, as Genji rolls away from that Drain Hope.
Yeah, actually, I think Thick Skin saved Greymane's life here, the level 4 talent, which gives him 50 physical armor against the next 2 hero basic attacks whenever he enters Worgen form. And I think without it, he may have actually fallen victim, especially since Falstad goes for the Seasoned Marksman. So if you block one of those empowered basic attacks, you're in for a good ride.
Yeah, this seems to be the other build for Greymane. There's 2 builds, which is the cocktail build and this one, which usually starts in this way, but can vary at level 7. We will a lot of the time see the Quicksilver bullets, which we will find out about at level 7, which has just hit.
Very true. Nice scattering arrow shot here by 11. And you mentioned a really good point, like Quicksilver bullets, which increase... Oh, never mind. Atui may fall another...
Holy shot for good measure.
Holy Shark just looking good. Definitely true. And Atui is starting to die a little bit too often. True, he is Leoric, and sometimes Leoric wants to get that trade value in, but if you lose a top fort because of it as well, it's definitely not a good trade.
You must embrace the Leorki, Kendrick. It's sometimes important. As we do see Klong moving in, gets both booped and knocked up by a Nubarak for the double CC, and TimeFlow continue to rotate relatively uncontested.
Murden maximizing his single target damage here, by the way, with Give Him the Axe at level 7, providing much needed additional damage on a single target, potentially stunned by the Sonya Leap, if we're going to see it after all, and the ensuing Hinterlands Blast. But maybe we're all wrong here, and maybe So is just going to take this a standard route with Mighty Gust, which admittedly is very nice for controlling bosses and choke points, and maybe Sonya wants to go for stronger team fighting with Wrath of the Berserker.
Falstad coming to join his team here as there is a scuffle. Currently it's 3 versus 4 in favor of TimeFlow. As TY moves in, Cat is dropped low and killed off along with everyone apparently. 11's able to leap over the wall and immediately Soa move on to the boss.
And that was such a reckless maneuver by TimeFlow, but they realized it was the only chance left for them to actually get a fight on even footing before level 10 was available. And we see it here again. Good engagement, actually, but the timing by TY, landing a huge hammering there on almost the entire team of TimeFlow, sealed the deal. Genji, of course, thanks to his mobility, also joining the fray. And guess what? If you're about to almost wipe the enemy team compositions and you get the Mercamp, you just take the next step. You go to the neighbor, you say hello, and you take the boss.
Think of the stacks that Falstad just got in that fight for his Seasoned Marksman.
Crazy.
And they have their heroics now. They're pushing in with this boss and these Siege Giants. Hinterland Blast, Leap, Avatar, Divine Shield, and Dragon Blade all up and ready. TimeFlow, this is going to be a rough defense. I honestly think Soa could be pushing this harder.
Yeah. Definitely. If I were Soa right now, I would completely ignore what's going on top lane. I mean, maybe Falstad has the flight available anyway, so he can definitely stay there for a while. But I would actually also ignore the bottom temple altogether, because they could actually deal some crippling damage onto that second tower lane if they fully committed to it.
But the boss is down. They left it alone, and that's how the boss does fall, but this will guarantee them at least middle fort.
Yeah, TY also holding the line here against Atui on that Lyric, but the Mercenaries are still standing, but the Keep is still in good position as well.
As we see Klong continuing to rotate to hang around the middle area so he can go down to Uther if Uther requires it. TY loses a fight for basically the first time this game, and Molly will take his place in the defensive position, but Leoric has done a great job pushing up here.
Yeah, the Drain Hope actually connects as well, but Genji is so fast, he can easily dodge the range of it. Fei, once again, doing what Sonya does best, takes another mercenary camp. Genji actually gets a kill as well, and I'm not sure what Atui was thinking here. Did he hope to duel a Genji with the help of his teammates, or...?
I think he wanted to bait him, or he just realized he was too pushed up and took too much poke damage on the way out. Good! Cleanse! God cleanse by Uncle G.
Oh, if I were Molly right now, I would actually jump off my seat and give Uncle G a hug, because that cleanse was life-saving. Beautiful display, using the full potential of Genji's mobility to Swift Strike away, move the cyber agility over the wall, and then, of course, be in Uther's warm and welcoming hands in time.
Muradin not able to land his Stormbolt to gain yet another stack, as he did go for Perfect Storm at level 1, as they Soa do hit level 13 comfortably. They have these wonderful Bruiser Camp here, as such Tui has to retreat back into his base.
Definitely true. Now, how much value can Soa get of this? 13 is here, and we see a potential engage that could happen at any given moment now. Leap is ready. Hinterland Blast is ready. All the tools are here to make Hanzo's life a living hell.
Yeah, or Lucio.
Or Lucio.
These are the two targets.
Get all the Overwatch heroes.
Faye and Molly, both in position. Look at this. Faye was thinking about the trap, decides against it. Muradin was forced to peel off.
All right, let's see. Isn't it funny how two Overwatch heroes are the primary targets for the combined wrath of mainly Warcraft heroes?
Yeah, no, they're upset. Overwatch is the new Blizzard doll. Must gain vengeance. But no, Blizzard loves all of its children equally. As we see Klong hanging around the area here, scouting out, but he's Muradin. He doesn't care, lands a stack, and is able to pull back. But he does take some damage from the Drain Hope, but Uther will heal that up without too many difficulties. Actually, no, Muradin's just going to heal it himself. He's a Muradin.
Yeah, and if you take a quick look here at the minimap, you will see how TimeFlow is so far behind in terms of structures. They can never hope to win the game by sharing temples. They need to make a team fight happen. Leoric goes down. Atui is not having a good day.
Leap. Where's the Hinterland Blast? Moving
Wait
forward.
for it.
The sound barrier has been dropped. Second that sound barrier expires.
It connects.
There it is. Gets huge damage onto Cat, but it's not enough. Cat is too far away, and as such, they only grab Leoric for that.
The good thing is that TY on the Falsis still had hit multiple heroes, so only 55 seconds until he will get another chance to unleash all that damage. Now, TimeFlow, they're not backing down. If there's one thing you can say about them, is they're not afraid to take those fights, even when several levels behind. Timeless making it out alive, barely there on the Anub'arak.
Yeah, that subterranean shield saving him from the poison spear damage. As such, he is able to live as TY gonna continue to hold that top lane. It survived so much.
15, almost 16 here for Soa. All they need to do right now is play this game cleanly and patiently. Literally the only way how they could lose that advantage, all that lead they have accumulated, is if they go for reckless team fights and they aren't executing it perfectly.
Molly currently taking the Guardians, and like you said, all someone needs to do is just keep playing. Don't even need to play safe. They're ahead enough, especially as level 16 is just now hit, to try and make plays if they want to, but they don't need to, as Muradin comes in with a beautiful stun, leap, hinterland, sound barrier. Good job by Lucio there, keeping Cat alive, as the
Genji's back though.
Whether or not he should join.
Genji was freed of the cocoon, and Greymane was still so low in HP. Fortunately for him, Genji did not go on a tunnel vision hunt this time around. Dragon Blade is about to come off cooldown here as well, and TimeFlow, they're going for a crazy maneuver. They need to fight right now. They realize this is the only chance how they can still stay in the game.
There's no leap, there's no hinterland. March and the Black King gaining some good value. Boss is abandoned as Atui goes down. But now, with a one-man advantage, guess who continues the boss?
But also, take a look at the health bars here. Fei Yi and Klong, they're both dangerously low. They need to wait a little bit longer. Uther has long cooldowns to keep everybody safe and sound. However, Muradin, thanks to that second wind trade, he's almost back in good shape. Takes a hit by the scattering arrow, so he remains at 50% for now.
TimeFlow, keep it going. Leoric
so huge.
returning from the death on the point. Muradin goes in. Here comes the Dragon Blade. They're holding the line. Faye with the whirlwind, the Divine Shield on Genji. They get maximum use of the Dragon Blade. Valstad barely survives. Uncle D gets the hinterland blast hits everything. Cat gets Mario. Does 11 is in full retreat.
TY doing it with that Hinterlands Blast, demolishing TimeFlow, who had established themselves such a nice position. Nice sidestep 11 by 11, but does he have his trait available? It doesn't look like it, and Faye is going to collect a poor Hanzo.
Nope. There we go. Onto the horse, but the fact is, there's still so many heroes alive. Falstad had to be back to defend. They decide that the boss will get the keep on its own, and they don't want to lose the game by getting themselves killed off by a rogue Hanzo.
So it almost worked for TimeFlow. That was actually so smartly thought of. They sacrificed Atui early so he could actually provide vision and he could cripple Soa a little bit more, because it actually baited them into starting the boss. Then Atui on the Leoric came back, used the Omnith Race to almost hit the entire team, reducing their damage by 25%. But still, even with that attack damage debuff, it was not enough for TimeFlow to come out on top because of TY and his team fight finishing Hinterland Blast.
Very nicely done, and guess what? It's back, because he got a big old cooldown reduction, but Leap is also re-available. Muradin moves in, going to try and kill off a Nubrak here. There's the charge. Immediate Leap follow-up by Lucio. The Dragon Arrow, not enough to save them, and Nubrak gets chased down too. Nice knock-up by Timeless, but he's nowhere to run, and Atui will retreat back to his Hanzo. They do still have 3 heroes alive, which is enough for at least an attempt at a defense if Soa were to push in. But Soa, they have temples available.
And that is exactly the news that Soa wants to receive right now. 2 temples even to maximize the damage dealt. The middle keep is almost about to say goodbye. There we go. We can watch it crumble to dust. And now all they need to do is just sit on those temples very patiently and administer all that juicy lead they had accumulated earlier.
As we see TimeFlow not wanting to step out of their base, they're happy to stay in here. They'll take the keep damage. They have an insane amount of clear. Atui, down he goes. TY able to pick up yet another kill and get to even more seasoned marksman stacks. Don't know if he is stacked yet, didn't see.
That moment though, when all you do as Leoric is become the punching ball of your opponents, and never mind though, Timeless going in. Could they get the lockdown on the Sun? No, Divine Shield is good.
Divine Shield is very good. Whirlwinding on top of the Cocoon to free Uther there. The Leap is good, and Genji gets out too. The stun from Uther onto Cat. Cat will maybe not fall. Yep, there we go. Muradin coming in from above. And that's 3 heroes down once again. Atui gonna try and get a revenge kill. He blocked it. He blocked the Drain Hope. Molly dashing past Falstad to block the Drain Hope there. Nearly got himself killed, but deflected the damage, and they are moving on to the core.
Now, that is getting really, really vicious right now for TimeFlow. They were demolished and dismantled once again. TimeFlow with a Hail Mary attempt, trying to buy as much time as possible, but yeah.
That is going to be GG. As Soa will take game number 2 and the full 3 points here. Very nicely done by Soa. They continue to impress.
They really do, and their composition was not an easy one to execute. I mean, it's all cool looking and flashy looking when all those heroic abilities come together, but